Moon boys around the world wetting their whistles and licking their lips as the price of Bitcoin attempts to push higher from the lows earlier this week. Big news just got even bigger. But is this dump absolutely over? Or is something much bigger on the way? Bitcoin right now has a very big green candle in the daily after a few days ago experiencing a mega dumpy on the charts. But is this dump over? Is this a true recovery? Or in fact, are we about to see something really big? So if you understand right now that even though things might look pretty big, they're not even half as big as they're going to be. Hit that like, hit that subscribe, get signed up to BINGX below if you want to buy Bitcoin or altcoins and get a 500 free airdrop, 500 free Pulse airdrop. And without any further ado, let's absolutely dump on in where we see Bitcoin today attempting to have a nice move to the upside. We see as well the stock market, the SPX specifically breaking above 5,300 concretely, decisively for the first time since falling below it last week. This is shaping up to potentially be quite large. You see the same thing on the weekly chart. There are a couple of big things I want to talk about. Obviously, Morgan Stanley is now opening their doors to begin offering the Fidelity and iShares BlackRock Bitcoin spot ETFs to their clients. Very big. Here we are. I mean, as I said in, I think the last video, it's been about 6 months since the Bitcoin, it's been a little over 6 months since the Bitcoin spot ETFs went live, since they started trading. And now there is some history that these managers can start marketing to clients and kind of, you know, when it's a brand new product, obviously certain people are not going to, you know, people are going to wait a little bit and see how the product performs. Now the Bitcoin spot ETFs have a 6+ month history, which is enough for some of these, some of these people to begin marketing to clients. Further, in my opinion, just giving us a more and more bullish environment. Obviously, if we look at Bitcoin, it looks really good, I think. Still, we see this descending broadening wedge, very similar to this. If we go back to the Black Swan in 2024, something very similar happened. Price didn't look great. We had that big crash, collapse, everything that pretty much, I remember watching it. I remember exactly where I was when I was watching it, what I was doing. And I just remember thinking, you know, this is pretty nuts. I remember thinking this might take a decent amount of time to recover from. But I think we all know really what happened is that it really didn't take that long to recover from it. We look on the charts, you go back to this very beginning of 2020. This is exactly what I was talking about right here. Right, we have this kind of like similar structure, similar pattern. And this is where everything fell through, absolutely collapsed. But really, did it take a long time to recover? Honestly, no. You see this massive crash. A couple weeks went by and it was obviously going up. But then basically week after week, there were some sideways weeks, definitely. But week after week, month after month, it really just pretty much started going up as fast as it could have started going up. It pretty much signaled, hey, bottom is in, let's start this bull market. And potentially, are we in a similar situation now? Where, hey, bottom is in, let's start this bull market. We see that Bitcoin versus the VIX as well. Every time that the Bitcoin USD paired with the VIX touched on this trend line, a rally materialized. Is this time any different? Okay, you can see going back, this is a significant trend line, apparently. I mean, it's data, it's not really an opinion. We also see that you add BTC USD in the lower pane to see what happened. The only time it made an appreciably lower low was in November of 2022, which was FTX. Otherwise, it basically hit the bottom every time. Remember FTX at the end of 2022? Wow, it's actually kind of crazy. If we look back, that was pretty much like 2 years ago. It's crazy how time flies. And also, I'm very thankful that that is not, you know, I've said this a million times. I'm so happy that FTX and Sam Bankman-Fried are not hopefully, I mean, maybe they're doing something, but I'm so glad they're not as influential, or hopefully, you know, I wish that they would never have existed. I wish that they never were in Bitcoin to begin with. They were always shady, and I'm just glad they're gone. Specifically SBF. But Trader Kaz on Twitter are also talking about the expectation that potentially grind EPA down to shake people out. He said this was posted yesterday, but he's saying there's a good chance we chop between 52 to 58,000 for a while. Here we are, almost at 60K. So it's crazy how things can flip like that, just 24 hours, and Bitcoin's potentially already having a decent bounce. And also, we're seeing a lot of, you know, bullish things coming out. fundamentally in the news and stuff like that with Morgan Stanley. Russia, I believe, legalized cryptocurrency mining today as well. Basically, though, this is my thoughts on this. I think we're in a bear trap before having the most explosive part of this cycle. I mean, I find it hard to believe that for the first time ever, institutions are truly invested and involved in this Bitcoin cycle from the beginning, not like back in 2021 when like we started to see some really wealthy people and institutions kind of get in like pretty much at the end of the cycle. Here we are at the very beginning of this, since this entire thing. And I just have a hard time believing that that is the case and we're going to have a very lame, not explosive bull market. I think that a lot of people are not going to make profit because they're going to get shaken out. Specifically, they probably have largely been shaken out over these last 12 to 24 months even. But I have no doubts still that something very big is coming. We see that, as I talked about as well, the Bitcoin chart looking a lot like the 2020 crash. V recovery and parabolic run in the next 6 months. Bitcoin is historically the most bullish actually in the last few months of the year. Specifically, I'm talking about, October, November, December specifically are pretty good performing months for Bitcoin and crypto. And specifically as well, summers are usually not very good, high performing months. And we're coming out, we're close to the end of summer as well. So I think Bitcoin has a lot of room as we head into the fourth quarter of the year and the last few months of the year. You see these halvings again. I bring this up just to even remind myself, this is where the halving was. We go back just a couple of months ago. And, we're now at that point where we should be, historically at least, expecting things are going to start getting crazy at any moment, literally any moment. Now, this is an election year. Just basically like, every other halving, because every halving's 4 years and election years every 4 years, right? Deliberate or not, probably deliberate. But this election year is particularly turbulent because Bitcoin, for the first time ever, is like a relatively big topic when it comes to, it's not the biggest topic, but I mean, more people than ever are going to be voting on the US elections based specifically on the candidates' Bitcoin and crypto policies. Why? Well, one, crypto and Bitcoin are very much more used and known now than ever before. But primarily, in my opinion, I think it's because of what the SEC has done and has tried to do. Basically, they've failed at doing it. But what they've tried to do to try to cripple the crypto industry in the US, what they've been trying to do under the Biden administration's 4-year term with Gary Gensler, Elizabeth Warren, these Democrats, right, that absolutely have been trying to destroy crypto. And I think a lot of people more than ever are extremely tired of it. And I think that they are going to be voting vigorously, very emphatically, very enthusiastically against people that are trying to destroy innovation in the US. I think it's ridiculous. I think it's one of the most important topics. I mean, I guess I won't get into it. But we look at Bitcoin on the daily chart. We do see, actually, people are talking about this bearish cross with the 21-day moving average about to cross below the 200-day moving average. This blue line about to cross below the white line. Is that a very bearish thing? Not necessarily. I mean, the blue line going below the white line happened back in September of 2023 as well. And Bitcoin didn't go any lower from that point. It crossed when Bitcoin was like 25,000, and that was literally the bottom, and it only went up from there. So there's absolutely nothing saying that this bearish cross is anything to be scared of. In fact, especially on daily charts, I find them not even that important or relevant much, but it is, it is a cross. We see the two tips touching, might as well talk about it, right? It's a new thing to talk about on the day. But on the weekly chart for Bitcoin, we have this moving average after Bitcoin bounced exactly at the 50-week moving average here. That's pretty big. And right now, this candle is a hammer candle. There's only about 3 days or so until this weekly candle closes. And so far, it's a very bullish candle. These hammer candles typically can indicate, basically the bottom being in. Now, again, I think it's very important to wait to see how this week closes out, especially following the stock market. The SPX is honestly looking pretty good today. Were the fears surrounding the Japanese yen carry trade exaggerated? Maybe. But also, I mean, if you really think about it, just on Monday, there was like one person truly panicking, like Jeremy Siegel of like the Wharton School, was truly panicking about the potential for this to get much worse. And most other people were saying like, hey, relax. We had a pullback. We haven't had many pullbacks. This is pretty normal. Yes, it was kind of odd that it was a specific reason, meaning the yen carry trade. But other than that, like, maybe don't panic just yet. And, on the daily chart, obviously, Bitcoin needs to get back above 60. I'd like to see 62,000 for this to start looking really good. But overall, same story. I mean, I think we're in a macro, very bullish pattern, whether it is a descending broadening wedge, whether it is like a 3-year long cup and handle pattern that you can even see right here. Like, it's also kind of like, it's very, like, this is a chart, I don't even have it drawn on, but it's also kind of just like very apparent. Like, if you look at it, you think, oh, the thing with this is, again, it's such a massive pattern. This goes all the way back, like, it's like 3-4 year pattern, with a breakout target being quite literally in the 6 digits per Bitcoin. I'm very optimistic. I think this market has been dumped on so much. So much of the momentum has been reset. I am buying at every opportunity that I have, and with all the money that I don't have invested, which is very little at this point, meaning most of my money is invested. And if somebody would give me a check for $10 million right now, hey, just take a guess on how much of that would be going into Bitcoin, especially before this bull market. That's what's crazy to me is, like, if Bitcoin had just gone to 200,000 US dollars, 300,000 US dollars, and we're like a year and a half past the halving or something, and historically things would be telling us, hey, we're about to probably enter a bear market, then you know what? That would not be the very optimal time to really, dump all your bags in. But still, we have not experienced historically at all what we are likely to experience in terms of a true bull market yet. We're right at the cusp of it. And that's what's crazy. It could literally happen tomorrow. Like, it could really kick off tomorrow. We could wake up with one of those days where it's like a, $15,000 candle or something like that, something insane. And I mean, today already we've had already up basically a $5,000 candle, like $5,000 up in a single day. Actually, yeah, we've had 5 today. I mean, so, could we wake up one day, have that all-time high smashed by thousands of dollars and just keep going up, and all the mainstream networks are talking about Bitcoin again, and people start FOMOing in, and then altcoins start going crazy? Because, again, keep in mind, altcoins I don't think will really do anything impressive until Bitcoin. Basically, I think Bitcoin's going to hit 6 digits before altcoins are going to do anything like truly groundbreaking in terms of gains. But yeah, par for the course, I think. And get signed up to BINGX below if you want to buy Bitcoin or altcoins. And without further ado,